Good morning, Life Point Church, and welcome back to the Black Family Forest. I'm glad you could join me here today. If you remember yesterday, we talked about Stephen, and he was a man that was greatly used in his ministry, and he was able to take a stand when it counted the most. He didn't hold back his punches. He was just preaching the truth, and when it came down to it, and it wound up costing him his life, he still stood by the faith and was able to take a stand. So we talk about being able to be used by God, to be able to be used in the ministry. A lot of people want to be used by God, right? Who doesn't? Everybody wants to be used by God, but there's some things that have to take place in our lives that would allow God to use us. God wants to use us as a vessel, but He wants a clean vessel, right? He wants people of a good report. Stephen was called a man of good report. Other people that we see in the Bible that were used by God, even in the Old Testament, we see that they had some good things about them. When we talk about the character of people of faith, let's look into Elijah's life. Elijah was to choose a successor, and he passed by this man working, and he saw Elisha. And he saw Elisha in the field, and he threw his mantle over Elisha. Soon after, Elisha began following Elijah. And it's true that Elisha became Elijah's servant. He was his servant. So when he got that mantle, when he got that calling upon his life, he understood at that point that his calling was to be a servant. He was willing just to be a servant. Now, it wasn't that long that Elijah was called up on that flaming chariot, and Elijah is looking up into the heavens, and another mantle falls upon Elisha. And God had given this mantle to Elisha, and it was the great supernatural workings that God was going to do in his life. But understand this, before the supernatural came, before the ministry that everybody wants came, it was the ministry of servanthood that came first to Elisha. He was willing just to be a servant. See, everyone wants that second mantle, but nobody really wants the first. Everyone wants the word, but not too many people pray for the work. You know, I've prayed many times, God, give me a word to say, give me a word to say. But how many times have I prayed, God, give me the work to do? Give me the work to do. It's a convicting message here today, isn't it? Everyone wants the fire, but nobody wants to fight. Everyone wants the supernatural, but nobody wants the sacrifice. The second mantle, though, came after the first. You see, you have to be a servant first. And even when we go back and we talk about Stephen, he had great faith that day when he was being stoned. But through his suffering, he was able to obtain the willingness to serve. Striving for the faith is about serving the kingdom first and watching God do His part and giving us the gifts that we cannot give ourselves. Let us think about that today. Let us think about what we're truly striving for and what we're really looking to get. Are we asking God, God, let us just do your will, whatever work that needs to be done, whatever I need to do, God, and just let God fulfill the ministry in your life. I know He can do it, and I know you believe with me. Thank you so much. Continue to come back with me to the forest on day 3 tomorrow.